Do you want more money in your life? Really? You question? Does that even need to be a question? Yeah, I know. You want more money in your life. But here's the truth. Money doesn't come to those who only ask. It flows to those who give value first. Think about it. When you buy a coffee, you don't hand over cash out of pity. You pay because the warm drink in your hand gives you something in return. The same rule applies to every dollar you earn. There's an old story about a beggar at a railway station. He asked people for coins every day. One man finally told him, "If you give nothing, you cannot expect anything in return." That single sentence changed his life. The beggar started offering flowers to everyone who gave him a coin. Suddenly, people gave more freely. They weren't paying him out of guilt. They were paying for something they valued. Soon, he realized he wasn't a beggar anymore. He had become a businessman. This is where your path begins too. You move from asking to offering, from waiting to creating, from surviving to thriving. The passive path is about finding ways to create value that keeps giving back to you. It's about shifting from being dependent on others to building something that stands on its own. Look around you. A teenager who mows lawns isn't just cutting grass. They're giving peace of mind to a neighbor who doesn't have time. A person flipping items online isn't just making trades. They're giving someone else the chance to buy what they couldn't find in stores. You may think you don't have anything to offer, but value is everywhere. It could be your time. It could be your skills. It could be your creativity. Here's the key. Money follows value. If you're not receiving, ask yourself, what am I giving? This single question can unlock your financial future, because the moment you stop waiting for others to hand you opportunities and start building ways to offer value, your life begins to change. The question now is simple. What can you offer today that someone would gladly pay for tomorrow? Stay with me, because in the next part, we'll uncover how the way you see yourself, broke or business-minded, decides where your money flows. Most people think their problem is money, but the real problem is mindset. If you see yourself as broke, you act broke. If you see yourself as someone who creates value, you act like a builder. The beggar once said, "I have nothing to give." That belief kept him trapped. The moment he said, "I have flowers to give," his world opened. He stopped asking and started creating. This same shift is waiting for you. It's not about the size of your paycheck. It's about the way you see yourself. Think about people living paycheck to paycheck. Some stay stuck for years because they only focus on what they lack. Others break free because they ask, what can I create with the little I already have? A man in Ohio lost his job in a factory. Instead of waiting for unemployment checks, he started fixing old bikes in his garage. Neighbors paid him a few dollars at first. Then he began reselling bikes online. Today he runs a shop with his sons. It started with one small shift in thinking. Or consider a young woman in Texas. She cleaned houses after school. She could have said, "I'm just a cleaner." Instead, she saw herself as a service provider. She built trust, gained more clients, and now runs a cleaning company. Her income grew because her mindset grew. The way you describe yourself matters. If you call yourself poor, you close the door. If you call yourself a creator, you open possibilities. You don't need to wait for permission. Start small. Cook meals and sell them to busy families. Offer tutoring for kids in your neighborhood. Design simple logos for small businesses online. Every dollar earned this way carries more power. It reminds you that you are not just surviving, you are building. The passive path is about replacing the thought, "I have nothing," with the thought, "I have something." Even if it's small, it's a seed that can grow. So let me ask you, are you still calling yourself broke, or are you ready to call yourself a builder of value? Because once your mindset changes, your actions change, and when your actions change, your money follows. Next, we'll look at how the smallest seeds, simple ideas, and daily actions can grow into real businesses and long-term wealth. A flower may look small, but to the beggar, it became the start of a business. That's the power of planting small seeds. What seems tiny today can grow into something much bigger tomorrow. The same applies to building wealth. Every big company started as an idea scribbled on paper. Every investor began with their first dollar. Every side hustle began with one simple offer. Think of the local craft seller who starts on Etsy. At first, it's just a hobby. She sells a few handmade candles. Then orders keep coming. She reinvests her profits into better materials. Before long, her brand grows into a business that supports her family. Or picture a man with a single food cart. He works long hours serving hot dogs. People line up because he's consistent. With savings from that cart, he adds another. Years later, he owns a chain of food trucks. What began as one cart turned into a business that employs dozens. Your seed doesn't need to be large. It only needs to be planted and cared for. What matters most is consistency. $5 invested each week may not look like much, but over years with compound growth, it becomes thousands. One article posted online might seem small, but over time it can attract clients, opportunities, and income. The secret is to act, even when it feels too small to matter, because small actions often build momentum. Take the example of a high school student in Canada. He began shoveling snow for his neighbors. At first, it was just pocket change. Soon, he added more clients. He bought better equipment. Today, he runs a landscaping business year-round. What began as a snow shovel became a company. This is how seeds grow, not by staying in your pocket, but by being planted and used. Ask yourself, what seed can you plant today? It could be learning a new skill. It could be offering a service in your community. It could be putting aside a few dollars to invest. The passive path is about seeing value in small beginnings. Because every large tree was once a seed, and every wealthy person started with something small. So the question is not whether you have enough. The question is whether you are willing to plant the seed you already hold. Stay with me, because in the next part, we'll explore how the way you define yourself, whether as a beggar or a businessman, can shape your entire financial future. The beggar once asked himself a question. Am I really just a beggar, or am I something more? That question changed everything, because identity shapes destiny. If you call yourself a beggar, you act like one. If you call yourself a businessman, you start acting differently. Your choices follow the way you see yourself. This is the same truth that applies to money. If you see yourself as someone who struggles, you'll keep struggling. If you see yourself as someone capable of building, you'll find ways to build. Howard Schultz grew up in a poor neighborhood in Brooklyn. His father worked low-paying jobs and often struggled, but Schultz chose to see himself differently. He believed he could bring Italian cafe culture to America. That belief became Starbucks, a company worth billions. Or take the story of Ronald Reid, a janitor in Vermont. He lived a simple life, driving a used car and fixing his own clothes. People saw him as an ordinary man, but he saw himself as an investor. Every month he bought shares of companies. When he passed away, he left behind over $8 million. He wasn't rich because of his job. He was rich because of the way he saw himself. You can apply the same lesson. If you earn $10 a week and put aside $1, you are an investor. If you design one logo and get paid for it, you are a designer. If you cook meals and sell them to neighbors, you are a business owner. The name you give yourself matters. It directs your habits. It pushes you to act in line with that identity. This is why many people stay poor. They keep telling themselves, I am broke. That identity stops them from seeing opportunities. It keeps them from acting differently. Change the way you describe yourself. Call yourself an investor. Call yourself a builder. Call yourself a business owner. Even if you are just starting, the title you choose shapes the path you walk. On the passive path, we believe your financial journey begins with a name. Not the name others give you, but the one you give yourself. So ask yourself today, what name are you choosing? The answer will shape not just your future, but your wealth. In the next part, we'll break down the timeless principles hidden inside this story and show you how to use them to build wealth step by step. The story of the beggar and the businessman is simple, but inside it are principles that can change your financial life. The first principle is reciprocity. You receive when you give. This is not just about charity. It's about every transaction in life. If you give value, people will pay for it. If you give effort, opportunities return to you. The second principle is perceived value. People don't always pay for what something is worth. They pay for how it makes them feel. A flower costs almost nothing, but in the hands of the beggar, it became a symbol of exchange. It changed the way people viewed him. That perception increased his income. The third principle is leverage. One flower given in return for a coin was a start, but when he turned it into a flower business, that was leverage. He moved from one-to-one exchanges to building a system that worked for him. That's how wealth grows. You can see these principles in action everywhere. A small business gives free samples to attract customers. That's reciprocity. A luxury brand charges high prices not because the item costs more, but because people value the status. That's perceived value. An investor puts money into real estate that generates rent every month. That's leverage. How do you apply this to your life? Start with reciprocity. Offer something before you ask for something. If you want to raise, show results first. If you want customers, give them a reason to trust you. Then focus on perceived value. Make what you offer stand out. Package it well. Present it with confidence. People pay not just for products, but for experiences. Finally, build leverage. Don't trade only your time for money. Find ways to earn even when you are not working. That could be through investments. It could be through systems like online stores. It could be through creating digital content that pays you over and over. The passive path is built on these principles. You give first. You create value that people respect. And you build systems that multiply your efforts. Ask yourself which of these three principles you are applying today. Because if you are not giving, not building value, and not using leverage, money will always feel out of reach. Stay with me, because next we'll go from principles to practice, breaking down clear steps you can take right now to build your own path to wealth. Principles mean nothing without action, so let's break down the steps you can take to build your path toward wealth. Step 1 is to start with what you can give. Look at your skills, your time, or your energy. Even if it feels small, put it out into the world. Offer tutoring if you're good at math. Offer dog walking if you enjoy pets. Offer organizing services if you're neat. Every skill has value when someone else needs it. Step 2 is to build small, repeatable systems. If you earn $10 once, that's good. But if you create a way to earn $10 every week, that's powerful. Repeatable systems create stability. That's how side hustles turn into businesses. Step 3 is to reinvest what you earn. The beggar reinvested by turning flowers into a business. You can reinvest by buying better tools, learning new skills, or saving money into investments. Reinvestment is what moves you from surviving to building wealth. Step 4 is to track every dollar. Wealth doesn't grow in the dark. Write down your income and expenses. Know where every coin goes. This awareness keeps your money working for you instead of disappearing. Look at a single mom who begins by cleaning houses. At first, it's just her. She uses her earnings to buy better supplies. She saves up to hire another cleaner. Soon, she manages a team and has regular contracts. Her wealth didn't come overnight. It came from steps repeated with discipline. Or think of a student who loves sneakers. He buys limited edition pairs online. He sells them for a profit. At first, it's one pair a month. Then he reinvests profits and expands his collection. Soon, he runs an online store. What began as a hobby turns into real income. Your path is not about waiting for a big break. It's about building small, consistent steps that lead to bigger opportunities. This is how the passive path grows, by stacking actions that lead to systems and systems that lead to freedom. So ask yourself today, what small step can you repeat this week? Because that single step can become the start of your own wealth system. Next, we'll bring these lessons into the modern world and explore how today's opportunities like content creation, gig work, and investing apps can be your flowers in the marketplace. The beggar had flowers. Today, you have modern tools that can become your flowers. Content creators on YouTube give their time and ideas. They upload videos that people watch for free. But through ads, sponsorships, and products, those videos bring in income. What began as sharing ideas becomes a business. The gig economy works the same way. Driving for Uber or delivering food with DoorDash is exchanging your time for value. It may start as extra cash, but it can also become a stepping stone. Some drivers save earnings to launch their own ventures. The exchange never stops. It only evolves. Freelancers on Fiverr or Upwork sell skills directly. Graphic designers, writers, and programmers all start small. One project leads to another. Soon, many of them build full-time businesses serving global clients. Investing apps have also opened new doors. With as little as $5, you can buy fractional shares of big companies. This is another form of exchange. You give your money today, and over time you receive growth and dividends in return. The same principle applies to real estate platforms, online courses, and digital products. Every one of them is a flower you can offer to the marketplace. The size doesn't matter at first. What matters is that you start planting. Think about someone who writes an ebook. At first, only a few copies sell, but the book stays online. Months later, it keeps selling while they sleep. One effort continues to pay off. That's modern leverage. Or picture someone who starts a small podcast. In the beginning, they record episodes with a phone. Later, sponsors notice the audience they've built. Now the podcast becomes a stream of income. You are living in a time where opportunities are everywhere. The flowers are digital, scalable, and global. You only need to decide which one you will pick up and offer. The passive path is about using today's tools to create tomorrow's freedom. It's about giving value through platforms that can multiply your reach. So ask yourself, what flower will you give to the world? Because the marketplace is waiting and your chance is already here. Stay with me, because in the next part, we'll put everything together into a clear framework you can follow. The same steps that can guide you from giving value today to building long-term wealth tomorrow. You've seen how giving value leads to receiving. You've seen how small seeds can grow into real businesses. You've seen how modern tools can turn ideas into income. Now let's bring it all together into a framework you can follow. Step 1 is value first. Always begin with what you can give. A skill, a product, a service, or even just your time. The flow of money starts with the flow of value. Step 2 is mindset shift. Stop calling yourself broke. Start calling yourself a builder, an investor, or a creator. Your identity directs your habits, and your habits build your wealth. Step 3 is build small. Don't wait for the perfect business plan. Start with a side hustle, a single client, or one small investment. Small actions done consistently create real momentum. Step 4 is reinvention. The beggar became a flower seller. You may begin as a gig worker, then become a business owner, then become an investor. Your path will evolve, and reinvention is how you keep moving forward. This is the passive path framework. Give value, shift your mindset, build small, reinvent yourself. People who follow this path move from asking to creating, from trading hours for money to building systems that earn on their own, from surviving to creating freedom. Imagine starting today by offering one small service in your community. Imagine putting aside $10 a week into investments. Imagine building an online store that runs while you sleep. Step by step, these actions compound into wealth. The passive path is not about luck. It is about choices made every day. Choices to give. Choices to grow. Choices to build systems that last. So what choice will you make today? Because every future begins with a single step taken in the present. In the final part, we'll close with the strongest lesson from this story and give you clear actions you can take right now to start building your own wealth. You only receive when you give. That is the lesson that turned a beggar into a businessman. The same truth can turn you into someone who builds wealth. Because money does not come from waiting. It comes from creating. Look at your life today. Ask yourself, what value can I give right now? What small seed can I plant that will grow into something larger? Your path begins with identity. See yourself as more than your job. See yourself as an investor, a creator, a builder. Act in line with that identity. Then focus on action. Offer what you can. Repeat it consistently. Reinvest your gains. Track your progress. Build systems that keep working for you. This is how you walk the passive path. You don't chase quick wins. You build steady streams of value that grow over time. So here are your actions. Pick one skill or resource you already have. Find a way to offer it in exchange for money or opportunity. Set aside a portion of what you earn to invest or reinvest. Call yourself by the title that matches your future, not your past. Wealth is not built overnight. It is built step by step. Each choice adds up. Each seed grows if you keep watering it. If a beggar with nothing but flowers could build a business, you can too. Your flowers may be skills, ideas, or time, but they can all open the door to freedom. So start today, build your path, and let your actions create the wealth and freedom you deserve. This is the passive path. If you found value here, like this video, subscribe for more, and share your thoughts in the comments. Tell us what seed you're planting today.